Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I decided to come on and make a late night visit. Drinking me some cranberry and vodka. I broke my toe today, so maybe that'll offer me a little bit of relief. Calling you baby. Mm-hmm. 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 Baby. All right, we got plenty of battery. There is quite a significant delay, isn't there? This is the first time that I've actually put my other phone on my channel to where I'm watching it. Hi there. I'm just kind of getting everything set up. I don't normally go live this late at night. I'm switching it up a little bit. Significant delay, isn't there? This is the first time I've actually okay. So yeah, I got my other phone. I'm gonna turn the volume down so it doesn't bleed. I just kind of wanted to. Sorry, my bad. I've just wanted to be able to keep track. I've never done that before. We're working with some cranberry and Cool Whip flavored vodka. Let me turn the music down a little bit. I broke my toe today moving furniture around. So, maybe the drink will help with that. Anyways, I hope everybody's having a good weekend, having a good evening, being safe, being smart. Summer is pretty much full steam ahead. So, there's nothing wrong with having a good time. Just be smart about it. Hello. Happy Saturday. I hope you're having a good evening so far today. I don't normally come on at nighttime. I usually come on during the day. So I am going to pull some affirmations while I'm here just because I don't really know what else to do while I'm on here. But I have been kind of testing out the different times of day. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been kind of a laid back Saturday for me. I was moving furniture earlier today and ended up breaking one of my toes. So I started taking it easy after that. And I was doom scrolling, I guess is what you could say, and this cute little guy came on and said, just in case you needed permission today, go to have fun, I give you permission to have tacos and margaritas, which I'm not having tacos and margaritas, but we can kick it with some cranberry and vodka. I don't really normally drink that much. The bottle of vodka that I'm working on, I got when I first got the apartment. So, I'm just pretty much close to finishing it off. People who have less views should show love to their streams. I don't know. People don't do that these days. I don't understand. Oh, yeah, there's a lot about the online world that I don't understand. There's a lot of channels that people give them money and put a lot of time into just sitting there watching them, and I don't really understand it. I guess I'm just a different generation. It just doesn't really make sense to me, but to each their own. Here lately I've had to on YouTube they don't call it block. What is it? Where you hide the channel to where it doesn't show up on your feed or whatever. I've had to do that with a couple of different channels. The one guy that has the toilet seat around his head, and I'm getting hot, so I'm going to take this off. I really just don't understand it. But to each their own, Yeah, I try to keep my energy chill. I don't get all worked up about anything. I don't, I try to keep it positive. I am using a different holder though, because I wanted to be able to carry you guys around, but I think I'm going to switch you back out to the other one. Let's see. There we go. That way you're up a little bit higher. I wasn't sure what I was going to do once I got on here. I guess we're just going to I'm going to do some random affirmations. That's normally what I do during the day. So that usually helps, if nothing else, get me started on something to talk about. So we'll start with the Namaste card from the Stress Less deck. Really, I should have done this video today, but like I said, I've been kind of not practicing, but, testing different times of the day, especially with it being the weekend. Most people get on later in the day. I hope everybody's having a good evening. Ooh, my right ear just started ringing. That's a good sign. Oh, wow. The power of touch. We just recently got that one. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to put it back in there. But the power of touch, the healing power of touch. Give your mind a treat. Notice how sometimes you crave pizza and ice cream. When your tummy wants something that it loves, you tend to give in and indulge it. Let your mind have a treat as well. Where do your thoughts drift to when you think of happiness? What is it that would put a huge smile on your face? Invoke those thoughts for 8 minutes. Let your mind fantasize. Ooh. All right. This exercise can release good hormones and have a positive effect on your body. Sure it can. have fantasizing about where you want to go in your life. There's a lot of different things that, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, we can fantasize about. That's not necessarily something that I'm good at. I'm a very logical person. So, that would be a good experiment to try. This exercise can release good hormones and have a positive effect on your body. So, use your imagination. Let your mind wander. Where does your mind wander? When you find that quiet time to really embrace your imagination and embrace, as it says, when you give your mind a treat and you allow yourself to really fantasize about people, places, things, situations. I mean, the options are endless when you're talking about fantasizing. Really. All right, now we'll get a chakra wisdom affirmation. Last time we got 6th and 7th chakra, the third eye and the crown. Grace and, intuition. Being in touch with your intuition. Listening to your intuition when it comes to letting your mind wander. We'll light an incense with it too. Wow. We got the same too. That's kind of crazy. 6th chakra, third eye chakra, inner knowing. And 7th chakra, crown chakra, one with all. So they're not the same cards, but they're the same chakras. Last time I think we did the incense for the 6th chakra. So we'll do the 7th chakra this time, which is the crown chakra. That is the fragrance of frankincense. Frankincense is actually a resin in its natural form. Both the crown chakra and the third eye chakra are represented by a color purple, violet, indigo. I love the smell of frankincense. There's a lot of people that don't like it, but I really do like it. All right. Inner knowing. I trust my inner knowing and I am at peace with myself. I create more moments of stillness and silence, and I listen for the truth. I am open to connecting and listening to my gut and my heart's feelings, and I don't override them with my mind's logic. I practice meditation and contemplation. And then we got one with all with the 7th chakra, the crown chakra. I feel the divine force flowing through me. I honor this and I know that it flows through all. I am calm in knowing that I am one with all, and I contemplate and meditate on this fact. I regularly remind myself that we are all from the same source and that we are all on a journey as spiritual beings experiencing this physical existence. I'm aware that I have a choice as to how I respond to what is happening in my life. My responses have an enormous effect on my spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical well-being. So very much lining up already with the give your mind a treat. Maybe allow your mind to drift in areas where you don't normally allow that to happen. For a lot of us, if we're used to being able to control our thoughts and our emotions, maybe kind of letting go of that control a little bit, letting loose of the reins a little bit. I'm going to turn this music off. I feel like it's distracting me. Oh, but that incense smells good already. All right. I guess we'll go ahead and follow that up with a Chakra Wisdom Oracle. Kind of switch up the order a little bit today or this evening. It feels weird kind of being on here at nighttime. I'm not really used to that. I hope everybody's having a good weekend, being safe. All right, so Chakra Wisdom Oracle. Last time we got Quest and Discovery. The dogs have been kind of restless today because I moved their couch. I've had 2 couches and I'm getting rid of one. And so I've got it to where they can't get on it anymore. I fully intended to get it out of the apartment today, but the neighbor that was going to help me do it ended up not coming home today. So I have to wait till tomorrow. But nonetheless, so if you hear them up moving around, it's just because they're restless. All right, let's get a Chakra Oracle. Service and Perseverance, both the color orange, which lines up with your second chakra, your sacral chakra. Perseverance and service. Let's see what those have to say. Service, Honey Adams. I attract to you whatever you desire, if you give up your desire. I attract to you whatever you desire, if you give up your desire. So kind of already connecting with the give your mind a treat. What do you truly desire? Are there desires that you have that you're keeping hidden? The Legend. Honey Adams loved her 3 children very much and had a rewarding family life, though sometimes she regretted never finding a career outside the home. At the end of her life, she realizes that this quote-unquote failure was not a failure at all. She achieved something more important, passing on a legacy of service to her daughter, Franny. Oh, wait, I'm reading service, not perseverance. Okay, for some reason I thought I was reading perseverance. It wasn't sounding right. Being a mother is a great accomplishment. Inspiration. Are you seeing your life as it really is? Though we may wish things to be different, often we create just what we need. This is an opportunity to look at where you are today. Give up what you think you deserve and start being of service. Personal inquiry. How does the idea of service inspire me? How can I make the most of my present situation? What can I give? Key ideas. Favoritism, unwillingness to compromise values, finding contentment, the joy of service, and precious memories. Keywords, compassion, loyalty, and strength. And then we got perseverance. Let's see what that has to say. Carrot-colored cloak. Don't quit before the miracle. Shannon's carrot-colored cloak is a gift from a famous stage actress, and she wears it always as a symbol of her own talent. One day, frustrated by the sacrifices, wow, and the service card talked about sacrifice. The sacrifices she has made in her long pursuit of success. She and throws off the cloak and gives up her acting career. The great goddess tries to convince Shannon to put the cloak back on and to stay the course, but she doesn't listen. Just around the corner, had she persevered, was great success. Inspiration. When we do our chosen work, we are serving the highest order. If we stop, we upset the universal balance. What you work toward will materialize. You may not see it, but it lies ahead. Personal inquiry. Can I ignore the feelings that would sidetrack me? Will I let go of fear and persevere? Key ideas: breaking through unseen help at work, feeling taken for granted, overcoming doubts. Keywords: steadfast, success, and miracles. So pushing through, really lining up with everything that's already come out so far. The inner knowing, the one with all, knowing that it's all connected, that, it's all leading somewhere. Even, letting your mind wander with the possibilities of where it could lead. In the video the other day, we very much talked about acts of kindness, acts of service. If you're at a point in your life where you're kind of like at a standstill, like if you're in a transition, a waiting energy, instead of letting that get the best of you and getting discouraged, making positive use of that time to either be of service to others or to encourage others, or even being in service to yourself by allowing your mind to wander, to fantasize about what the possibilities are. We that's the energy that we very much that we started out with at the very beginning. Letting your imagination wander and trying to think of the things that would bring you happiness that aren't necessarily things that you planned for, but they might be little treats along the way that would do your energy good. All right. Now we'll go, let's see. We'll do some affirmations from the Wild Offering Oracle. Last time we got confidence and compassion. Always very important. Confidence in yourself, confidence in your choices, compassion for the people around you. Even so much as applying it to what we're reading now, having compassion for others and trying an act of service could be encouraging others to do that, encouraging others to embrace their imagination, to persevere through discouraging times. I mean, we all have them. We all have those hard days or those difficult situations to where, it never hurts to get a little bit of extra encouragement from the people around us. But of course, always remembering to give that to yourself as well. Direction and self-love is what we got this time. Clarity on the bottom of the deck, ambition on the top of the deck. Maintaining that ambition, very much lining up. I'm going to take that because that very much lines up with the perseverance. All right, first we got direction. Lord, please show me the right action right now. Please bring a sign and a miracle that gives clear direction. May I hear the promptings of my own body. And if for some reason I'm about to head the wrong way, please stop me. So that very much lines up with what we got in the last poll, talking about listening to your intuition, not letting other people's opinions or expectations influence the direction you go. Also lining up with the self-love, doing what's best for you. making choices, or fantasizing about where you want to go. You know, a lot of us are in phases of transition right now where, you know, we're still kind of trying to figure things out. And so loving yourself enough to let yourself fantasize and embracing your imagination, the possibilities that are at your fingertips. Show me how to love myself. Show me how to take care of the inner child. Show me how to be kind within. When you step into self-forgiveness, so much can change on the outside. When we love ourselves, not only is that something that's going to encourage other people to love themselves, but that self-love will help us do all these other things, to persevere, to give, to offer service to those that are in need. The more self-love you can act with, the more inner knowing you're going to have, going back to our chakra affirmations. All right, and then we got ambition. May I offer all my deepest longings to love itself and invite a divine plan beyond the mind's imagining. Please use me for the highest good. Very much lining up with the chakra cards that we already got, the service and the perseverance. You know, sometimes when we're in those times of transition, the best thing we can do is offer our acts, our energy, our time, our love to other people, because it helps them embrace it within themselves. And a lot of people don't know how to love themselves. They get very discombobulated when you're in that transitional phase. Not everybody deals with change in a good way. And obviously, you know, it depends on where that change is coming from. You know, is that self-induced change? Is it unexpected change? Whether that's for us or for other people. All right, we're going to get our educational moment for the day with the state cards. Last time we got Kansas. We'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll get a couple more affirmations before we jump into the oracles. I did put my Cash App information in the comments at the very beginning of this stream, but it's also my Cash App information, my Facebook information, my other YouTube channel. All that is in my description. So if this is the first time you're coming across my videos, a thumbs up would be great. A subscription would be even better. Of course, donations are much appreciated, but obviously never expected. So I hope everybody's having a good weekend. All right. Get our state card. Iowa, the color purple. IA is the abbreviation. Nicknamed the Hawkeye State. It received its statehood December 28th of 1846. The state bird is the eastern goldfinch. The state flower is the wild prairie rose. And the state motto, our liberties we prize and our rights we will maintain. Quick facts. Iowa is the nation's leading corn producer. Wow. In 1803, the U.S. acquired Iowa as a part of the Louisiana Purchase. All right, so there you go. There's your educational moment for the day. Iowa is the main producer of corn. It's not wanting to stand up straight. And it became a state in 1846. I did not know that. All right, now we'll get some affirmations from the Affirmators deck. Self-help without all the self-helpiness. Last time we got power and friendliness. Wasn't a very good shuffle. All right, so perseverance, service, inner knowing, one with all. Give your mind a treat. Ambition, self-love, and direction. So loving yourself enough to pick a direction, not letting other people, places, situations decide which direction to go. Listening to your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, the Most High. Divine, look at that. Divine timing flew out as I was saying that. Everyone's a teacher on the bottom of the deck. And power, again, on the top of the deck. We just put that back in there. And nature just flipped out. So divine timing and nature. If you look at this little cartoon picture on the divine timing, it's like the sand hourglass. I'm getting ready to flick it. I love the little childlike humor that they use in these. Everything is timing, and timing is everything. Gladly I release my concern over timing and let things happen when and as they will. Divine timing, for sure. I trust that the divine schedule makers know what they are doing. It can take a long time to reach divine middle management. So trusting your inner knowing, trusting and knowing that we are all connected, that even though we may not acknowledge the connection that we have with our angels, ancestors, spirit guides, our higher self, and of course the Most High, that connection is there. And if we take the time to really acknowledge it, when we get to that point where we acknowledge it and we can accept it and we stop fighting that, it really helps things flow smoother. And then we got the nature card. This is one of the bonus cards that came with the deck. It's time to unleash your inner hippie and step outside of that man-made box. We talked a lot about that box. Henry Love. Oh, I have no idea. I don't know who Henry is, but hello. We talked about that box in the last video. Take a walk in the woods, smell those flowers, hug some trees. You might think you're being ironic. Like, look at me, I'm being all tree huggery and stuff. But you'll find that even then, those trees will hug you back. Trees come from a time before irony, and their earnestness is impervious to our jaded humor. If that doesn't make you want to hug them even more, well, I guess you're a robot. So, spending time in nature, getting outside, breaking out of giving your mind a treat, breaking out of those thought patterns that a lot of times can hold us back. A lot of times spending time in nature can really help us get in touch with ourselves. It helps us connect with our intuition. I say it often, when we are constantly surrounded by noise and distraction, we can't hear that inner voice. We can't hear our own higher self, our own intuition trying to get our attention. And no, not everybody can manage to do it all the time, but it's very important to make time to get that quiet time. And of course, spending that quiet time in nature, in my opinion, is the best way to get it and to spend it. But, to each their own. All right, now we'll get some angel numbers. Last time we got 818, 1212, and 6464. I hope everybody's having a good evening. Happy Saturday. I'm going to take a drink while we're in this pause moment. It's almost time for a refill. I can feel my cheeks getting hot. I don't drink very often. And even though there's not, I mean, I don't know. I guess there probably is. There's 2 shots in that cup. So, yeah. By the time I finish that, I'm 2 shots in. I don't drink, but I've quit thinking about my toe hurting. So that it worked for that anyways. All right, let's get some angel numbers. Oh, there's one that's stuck to the table. 17, self-belief. We won't keep that out because it just stuck to the table, but I will acknowledge it. So, soul purpose, number 7. It hasn't been that long since we've gotten that. We got that, I guess it was in the middle of the week. Hold on, let me get a tissue. Yeah, it was, I'm going to say it was the middle of the week that we got that soul purpose. Number 7, life path, divine guidance, success, alignment, mission, and fulfillment. We got 2222 on the bottom of the deck. Stick to it. So going very much lining up with the perseverance that we already got with the chakra oracle. And then 66, don't worry. So number 7, number 2222, and number 66. I can't remember which video it was in the week that we were seeing a lot of 2s. 22 is connected to Archangel Michael. Your video is blurry. I'm sorry. I may just have a weak connection, or I may be moving around too much. I do see it on my other phone. It doesn't on my end, on the phone that I'm actually recording on. It doesn't show the blurry, but I've connected to it on my other phone, and that one does show the blurry a little bit. But it may just be my connection. I don't know. We had some bad weather in the area earlier, so I may not have a strong connection. My bad. I can't really do anything about that. But that being said, I am going to take my other phone off of my video and put on some handpan in the background. I enjoy having that playing in the background. Doesn't necessarily always have to be handpan, but it is one of my favorites. All right, so number 7, soul purpose, life path, divine guidance, success, alignment, mission, and fulfillment. Your angels are pleased with your life choices and are letting you know that you're on the right path. Keep up the good work as you are successfully fulfilling your soul purpose and life mission. How can you continue to align your daily actions with your soul purpose and life mission? Today, acknowledge the progress you've made and take a moment to reaffirm your commitment to your soul's true calling. So that very much lines up with both of the chakra oracles that we got with the service and the perseverance. I talk about it here often. Even though things may seem like nothing's happening, don't lose faith. Don't lose confidence in the choices that you've made. Keep going in whatever that direction is that you've been going in. Trust in divine timing. Going back to our Namaste card, give your mind a treat. Give your mind a break. Have a little bit of fun. Let loose a little bit. Let your imagination wander. It specifically says fantasize. So, that fantasizing doesn't necessarily come easy for everybody because, especially if you're a very serious or logical person, that can be very much pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Now, of course, I'm not saying that it can't be referring to fantasizing about other people, but be cautious of that. Our logic can get distorted sometimes now don't get me wrong, especially with social media and stuff nowadays, it's hard not to. There are some beautiful, beautiful beings out there that you just can't help but want to spend time with them, but just be aware. Pay attention when you let your mind wander like that. Where does it go? What are the things that you think about? A lot of times that gives us an idea of maybe what our true desires really are. All right, 2222. Stick to it. Persistence, patience, progress, steadfast, goal, manifestation, and preparation. Choose a path and stick to it, making slow and steady progress. This card signifies the need for patience and consistent effort while working toward a significant goal or manifestation. Ensure that all aspects of your plan are organized and aligned. What path are you currently following? And how can you stay committed and make steady progress toward your goal? That's very much lining up with what we've already seen out here, from the direction to the ambition to the perseverance. Review your current plans and ensure everything is in order. Take one accountable step today towards your goal and commit to making constant progress, no matter how small. So, baby steps. Setting smaller goals to accomplish a bigger goal. Going back to the self-love, maybe being aware of what your true desires are, not making decisions based on what the world presents to you, what other people expect of you. Loving yourself and staying on track despite the discouragements. People are going to discourage you, especially if whatever you're working on is taking your time and attention away from them, and then they're definitely going to. But that's when you've got to stand firm in your self-love. Stay firm on the path that you've chosen. Don't let other people's opinions redirect you. All right, and then we got 66. Don't worry. Calm, optimism, joy, trust, release, and soul's mission. Have you been consumed by worry, fear, or concerns about the physical world? Bam, there it is right there. It's time to shift your focus. Move from stressing over material needs to joyfully pursuing your soul's mission with optimism. And we did get soul purpose. Don't get discouraged if things aren't moving as fast as you want them to, or as fast as you think they should be. In what areas of my life am I letting worry hold me back? And how can I redirect my focus towards my soul's mission? So very much going back with our Namaste card, giving your mind a treat, letting your mind wander, reconnecting with that mission that you initially set out on. Maybe looking at it from a different perspective, trying to draw some inspiration to kind of change it up a little bit. Identify one worry or fear that has been consuming your thoughts and take a step today towards a joyful pursuit of your soul's mission, focusing on positive actions and outcomes. So don't get hung up on the disappointment. Even though it may not be playing, whatever situation it is, may not be playing out the way you expected it or in the timing that you expected it, don't give up. Persevere through that discouragement. Take time to go out in nature and to quiet your surroundings so that you can, recompose yourself and, get back on track. Brainstorm a little bit, All right, now we'll get a celestial insights. Last time we got time, link, attract, and trust. So stick with it. Don't give up. Don't worry. Don't let the stresses of everyday life take away your purpose, take away the joy that you get from living your purpose. Going back to the service and the perseverance that we got with the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. You know, and I say it here all the time. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to be kind and to do for others. Offer your time, your energy, your services to other people. Kind of going back to what we talked about in the beginning. You know, if you're in a state of like stagnant energy where, you know, you're kind of in between phases and you're just kind of in that waiting energy, making positive use of that time. All right, one more shuffle and then we'll get celestial insights. So trusting your inner knowing, trusting that your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, your higher self, and of course the Most High are always with you. Awakening potential wanted to flip over. I'm not going to take it out, but I will acknowledge it. Don't let other people's discouragements take away your ambition. Appreciate what and acknowledge and embrace the healing power of nature, not only for your body, but for your mind. Give your mind a treat. Telepathy. We're talking about the mind and telepathy comes out. Wow. I think that's the first time we've ever gotten that card. Admiration on the bottom of the deck, followed by Sacred Union. Wow. And True Love on the top of the deck. So we can see, I'm not going to read it, but there's Sacred Union there. Okay, so telepathy. Your intuition is connecting you with others. Have you experienced moments of deep understanding with someone? Pay attention to these subtle connections. They could hold the answers you need. So going back to what we mentioned earlier about connections with others, it did come up in the video from the other day, being aware of the energy that you are exchanging with other people, whether that's physical energy, mental energy, but also kind of going back to what we were talking about with the nature card. This comes up a lot where, like, if you don't take the time to learn what your own energy feels like when it's not being infiltrated by other energy, then you're not going to know when you're picking up on somebody else's energy because you don't know what your own energy feels like. So you're not going to know when there's a difference in your energy field. So making the time to do that. All right, and then admiration. Are you worthy of admiration? And you are worthy of admiration and respect. Have you been downplaying your value? Accept compliments and be proud of your achievements. You deserve recognition. So, going back to what I already said, you know, even if you're not getting that admiration that you feel like you deserve, don't let that discourage you. Don't let that pull you off track. All right, and then we got true love. True love is a deep soul connection. Are you searching for it? Trust that it is out there, but remember to love yourself first. True love will follow naturally. Very much lining up with the self-love card that we already got from the affirmations. And I say it often, you know, if you don't know how to truly love yourself, you are not going to be able to authentically accept love from other people. You may be able to do it like on surface level, but to truly be able to embrace it, if you don't love yourself, if you don't truly love yourself, you're not. I really want to read this Sacred Union. Let's see what it says. And enlightenment was underneath that. Sacred Union. Two powerful forces are uniting, whether in a relationship or within yourself. This union brings energy and growth. Embrace this connection. It will lead to deeper understanding and transformation. So not only a union possible with, that doesn't, I mean, we did get true love out here, which is why I wanted to read that card. But, that could be just about truly coming into union with yourself, accepting yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly, embracing those things, and using that as an opportunity to grow. Really learning who you are, what your soul purpose is, learning what's important, what brings your life value. A lot of us have a tendency to get stuck in that me energy. And yes, don't get me wrong, self-love and giving yourself the time and the energy that you need is important. But, don't take it to the point of being selfish. Going back to our chakra wisdom oracle with the service card. All right, now we'll pull from the wandering heart oracle. Last time we got several from here. We got out of sight, blessings in disguise, honor your word, and forgiveness. Just going over the angel numbers again, 66, 7, and 2222. 2222 is also connected to Archangel Michael. Protector energy. Stick to it. Stick to the plan. Don't let other people discourage you from that. Don't worry if things aren't going. I've said it for a long time. It's okay to have expectations, but allow those expectations to be flexible so that you can go with the flow. Because a lot of times when we have set in stone, not a lot of times, all the time, when we have those set in stone expectations, you're going to be disappointed every time, because nothing is ever going to go exactly how you plan it or exactly how you want it, because it's not just about us. Other people, places, and situations influence and impact how it all plays out. Not to mention angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and the Most High, Just because even if you don't embrace that connection, it's there. Whether you embrace it, acknowledge it, or not. I can speak from experience. For a long time, I was very unaware of that relationship. It's there whether we acknowledge it or not. But if we can acknowledge it and embrace it and actually listen to it, it does help. Going back to our chakra affirmation, the one with all and the inner knowing that there's more. There's more. It's not simply black and white. We live in a very colorful world. We live very colorful lives. And there's always more. It was 53:44 when I looked at the timer. All right. That was quick. Wow. Okay. All right. We got 4 again this time. I don't normally take that many with these, but very different energy out here this evening than what I usually get. Of course, it is nighttime. And all right, anyways, we got fertility, number 3, number 11, alchemy, number 13, orgasm, and number 24, caged bird. I find it very interesting that the fertility and the orgasm came out when we got sacred union and true love. So, and then we also got the fantasize with the namaste card. That's a very unique combination. I'll just leave it at that. I'm good. Let me see if I can get them both to go at the same time. All right, so first we got number 3, fertility. There we go. It's not gonna. No. All right, there we go. All right, fertility. Your aspirations lay the foundation for fertile ground. Grow something beautiful, new life and imagination. There is a theme of abundance in your life. You are a significant provider of light in the world. Your vision is vigorous and clear. Creativity runs fluid. You harness mother energy and are in a space of developing impressive ideas and designing new beginnings. Do not take this moment for granted. Stay innovative. If you're being called to parent, receive it. If you're being called to lead people, accept it. Channel this energy into rewarding experiences. Anything you produce with humility and devotion will be nothing short of exceptional. With this sign, you are safe to fall in love. You have the strength to bear new life. You are encouraged to interrupt the cycle. You have worked for a very long time to get here. Thinking about the next moment will only interrupt the one at hand. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with others. Stay gracious, and this will make all the difference. Right. That's beautiful. Right? That's the best we can do. Not that it falls short, because it doesn't, but that's what we should all do. That's beautiful, the way you phrased it, the way you worded it. But that very much lines up with what we've already been talking about. Like, don't get discouraged. Don't overthink things. Knowing that we have the inner knowledge, trusting your own intuition, trusting that you've made the right choices, trusting that it will all happen in divine timing. We just have to stay the course. Stick to it. Don't give up. You know, whatever direction, maintain that direction, maintain that energy, that desire, that flow. Don't let other people's opinions discourage you from following your path. All right, and then we got number 11, alchemy. Thank you for being here. All right, alchemy, number 11, leave it to fate. Charisma and attraction. Brilliant returns make their way to those who dream big. The wise man knows he knows nothing at all. He also knows he needs his rest in order to maintain balance. With stability comes rewarding benefits. Friendships blossom, romance enhances, and optimal health evolves into the grandest priority. Life is falling into place the exact way you predicted it would. Your visions are coming to fruition. Your radiance manifests. Your power is your power, and no one can hinder or undermine your potential. You have that it factor. You glow in every room you step into. Your energy is a magnet. You are a divine being. If no one has reminded you of how special you are recently, here it is. You are special. Take this time to embrace and receive your magic. Then use it to your advantage. Don't sleep on yourself. So don't get discouraged. Don't get stuck. Keep moving forward. Even if, going back to the perseverance, even if that moving forward is just your self-love and self-care. You know, if you're in that place where you've really been pushing hard, take the time to remember that you're special, that you're important, and you deserve that rest and that rejuvenation. You know, we have to stop and take a break every once in a while. Give your mind a treat. Going back to our Namaste card, give your mind a treat. Allow your imagination to wander. Embrace those fantasies. Maybe even let those fantasies encourage you, or, you know, add to what you're already doing. I guess I knew it was just a matter of time before this card came out, but I've never actually read this card, so I don't really know what it's going to say. What did I just say? All right, number 13, orgasm. I really think that they really could have put a different name on that card and the picture. Hey, it's Saturday. You know, I'm waiting ancient. Wow, yeah. Very beautifully said. That's just, if you're not already into poetry, you're very good at it. Okay. Prioritize pleasure and play. Culmination and innocence. You have the tools that not many can obtain. You never limit your experiences by being closed off or closed-minded. You are open to all things diverse, and so you benefit. Your seeds come to life. Your energy exudes poise. Your fancy consciousness. Conscientiousness. You do what you can to level up. You strive for climactic adventures. Your love is like Disneyland. Silliness and playful things only. You honor your inner child by having fun and diving directly into the thrill. No specific order, no specific rules. You don't ask for permission from anyone. So, going back to what we were talking about with the Namaste card, embracing your imagination, letting your mind wander. We haven't talked about it today, but it comes up often, you know, embracing your inner child, loving your inner child, understanding that, you know, we don't have to be serious and all the time, finding the joy and the pleasure in all the little things that life has to offer. All right, and then we got Caged Bird, number 24. So 3, 11, 13, and 24. Going over our angel numbers again, 66, 7, and 22. All right, Caged Bird. Demand more space. Insecure and innocent. This card hints at a newfound maturity. What frightened you previously no longer does. You have found the allure in surrendering. You entertain the unfamiliar in hopes of exploring a new thing. You find yourself stepping out of the box more often, no longer discouraged to live beyond the limits of your circumstances. You are dismissing yourself from your own harsh judgment, granting access for wisdom to come through. Someone out there is seeking you. You have made a delightful impression. You may have pulled on someone's heartstrings unknowingly. Now would be an excellent time to draw up a list of everything you are searching for from a partner and out of life, so that the universe can do its thing and pull you and those things together. Wow. So not only did we get all that with the Wandering Heart Oracle, but we got the Sacred Union and the True Love and the Telepathy with the Celestial Insights. So knowing what you want, knowing the direction that you're headed, not letting other people's opinions. Hi, Southern Talent. Hello, happy Saturday. Not letting other people's expectations, other people's opinions, cause you to neglect what you want and what your desires are, what your fantasies are, what your truth is. Just because we don't think about things, just because somebody doesn't agree with fill in the blank doesn't mean that it's not okay for us. Wow. Heart to heart, we plant love's seed. Cosmos align. Wow. Yeah. Just publish that. Like, yeah, very beautifully said. A lot of times we get discouraged when those unions don't come in the time we think that they should. Or if it's not the unions that we want it to be. Kind of going back to what I talked about earlier with the expectations. Don't, know what you want, but don't necessarily have those expectations set in a physical form. Like, know what you desire, but be open to receive it from wherever it comes from. All right. We'll get animal allies next. Last time we got seagull and penguin. Divine timing. It's out here. And it's at play whether we accept it or not. Accepting it just makes life easier. When we accept what our role is and what the divine's role is with everything that's happening, it doesn't necessarily change anything. It just makes how we handle it easier. And it helps us understand what it's all about. So many people going back to, a lot of what we've talked about here today and in the last video, breaking free from that box, not staying stuck in a thought pattern, in an environment. Even being stuck in expectations can hold us back. Embracing our soul's purpose, not worrying about what other people think about our own soul's journey. It's our soul. It's our journey. It's not anybody else's. So don't worry if people don't trust whatever path you've chosen. It has nothing to do with them. Embrace it. All right. Animal allies. Hummingbird. Beautiful. Parrot on the bottom of the deck. Crane on the top of the deck. Hasn't been that long since I saw a crane. A lot of people get cranes and herons confused because they look so similar, but they're actually not the same. All right, hummingbird. I'm pretty sure we've gotten this one before. All right. Hummingbird superpowers. Joy, receiving, sweetness, gratitude, good luck, accomplishing the impossible, overcoming limiting beliefs, beauty, childlike wonder, and love. Hummingbird wisdom. There's no benefit to playing small, and it's not possible to receive too much abundance. There will always be enough for everyone. When hummingbird appears, celebrate yourself and the way you show up in the world. Be open to receiving all the sweetness life has to offer. What will you gift to yourself? Hummingbird wants you to know. Expect more joy and ease soon. Open your heart and beat your wings. The world is ready for your unique brand of beauty and style. That very much lines up with everything that we just read with the Wandering Heart Oracle. Embracing who you are, loving yourself for who you are, not letting the world steal that from you. We are all blessed with different talents. We're all blessed with different gifts. Going back to the self-love affirmation, loving yourself exactly the way you are. Not forcing yourself to change to accommodate other people's expectations. The right people that are meant to be in your life will love you just the way you are. They will accept you how you are. They won't expect you to change. They may encourage you to change, but they won't expect you to. Cranes are beautiful animals. We're going to read that one next. Crane superpowers. Longevity, focus, balance, protection, youthful outlook, peace, hopefulness, good fortune, and fertility. Look at that. We got the fertility card, and it talked about embracing the inner child. Right? Yeah, hummingbirds are beautiful. And they move super fast. Most definitely. Oh, yeah. Life's a dance. Yes. That song, I've heard that song actually a lot in the last week. Is that John Michael Montgomery? Life's a dance, you learn as you go. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow. Don't worry about what you don't know. Life's a dance, you learn as you go. I'm pretty sure that's John Michael. And then the other one that came up was, or that I've been hearing a lot lately, is Garth Brooks, The Thunder Rolls. Yeah. I love that song. All right, let's finish Crane. Crane wisdom. Not everything is up to fate. Choices are made every day, and the consequences of those choices are the results. An unwanted or unexpected consequence is an opportunity to course correct. When Crane appears, consider where you're focusing your energy. Are you giving away too much power by allowing outside opinions to influence your efforts? What have I been saying? I love it when it lines up like that. It's okay to redirect your focus while you figure it out. Crane wants you to know you have access to more fresh ideas than you give yourself credit for. Your ability to create something from nothing is a great asset. Don't squander it. That very much goes back to what we talked about in the last video. Something that like just may be natural to us. We don't necessarily see it as a gift, as an asset, but to somebody else, that may be something that they wish they had. So embracing your imagination, embracing those fantasies that float around in your head, taking the time to really kind of sit down and understand them, kind of, put it in a rhythm. Sometimes you follow. All right, then we got Parrot. Getting quite flush. All right. Parrot superpowers. Warmth, showing true colors, using your voice, intelligence, sharing wisdom, both light and dark, longevity, and stamina. Parrot, my mind really just fell in the gutter there for a second. Parrot wisdom. What you resist persists. Knowing when to use your voice and when to stay silent is true magic. When Parrot appears, give your attention to what keeps showing up for you and either embrace it or resolve it. Parrot wants you to know. Imagine your concerns as a lock and communicating with your unique voice as the key. What could you unlock for yourself if you tried? Parrot is an excellent reminder to clean up your self-talk. Talk to yourself with the same love and care you would offer to a loved one. So very much going back to the affirmations that we've already gotten. The ambition, the self-love, the direction. Not letting other people's opinions change how you feel about yourself. Embracing those character traits that, to you may not seem like anything special, but to somebody else, they may just be amazed by it. I see that all the time. Not only within myself, but in people around me. Sometimes people can find it intimidating when you possess a character trait or a skill that they don't, and it can lead to jealousy, which kind of goes back to what we've already been talking about not letting other people, take you off your path. Not letting other people discourage you from or pull you away from what you know your truth is. What came up after that? Whiskey and Rain, Michael Ray. That is a good song too. All right. Now we'll get some Angels of Abundance. Last time we got No More Complaining, Dreams of Abundance, and Savings. All right. Kind of connecting the Namaste card with our Wandering Heart Oracle cards, the Alchemy, Fertility, Orgasm, and Caged Bird. allowing yourself to allow love in. Don't allow your lack of confidence to cause you to close your heart off. Embracing who you are, embracing the fact that you are lovable, you are valuable, you are special. Going back to what the alchemy card said and the caged bird, you are special. There are things that you are here to do, skills that you have to offer that can't be found somewhere else. And that goes for everybody. We we all are so hard on ourselves and we don't even see our value. It's one of life's many struggles. Windfall of abundance. Face your financial fears on the bottom of the deck, and then clearing debts on the top of the deck. So a lot of money energy there. Clearing debts, windfall of abundance. So, sticking to it. Going back to our angel numbers, 2222, sticking to it. Knowing, and we've heard it several times in what we've already pulled. Abundance is on the way, but not allowing the discouragement from the world around us to affect our going back to the cloak, the carrot colored cloak with the perseverance from the chakra oracle, not giving up. Like, abundance is just around the corner. Don't give up. 2222, stick with it. Divine timing is always at play. Just because we don't know, just because we feel like things aren't happening, yeah, I mean, envy is a natural thing. Like, we all see things in other people that maybe we wish we had more of in ourselves, and then vice versa. But for me, when I experience all those 122.55 on the timer, we got 2 viewing and 5 likes. So very much a number synchronicity there. But for me, when I have those trigger moments, I take that as an opportunity to learn. A lot of times when we're triggered, especially in ways of like jealousy, it shows us our true desires. Because a lot of us we're so disconnected from ourselves because we're so involved in the outside world. We don't take the time to really know what our heart's true desires are. And a lot of those negative emotions, that's where they come from. Is because we're not chasing after what we desire. We're just playing a role instead of living a life. Going back to the namaste, give your mind a treat. Allow your mind to wander. Allow your mind and your imagination and your heart to almost pitter patter with the thoughts of what could be. What do you truly want? Who do you truly want? How do you want your life truly to be? Are you ready to accept the love that the universe has to offer? Because obviously it's coming in. I've never pulled cards like this before. All right, we got Windfall of Abundance. All right, that's Luke Combs. We're not gonna, I don't have anything against him, but we're gonna go back to the handpan now. Thank you, John Michael Montgomery. Oh, it's okay. No need to apologize. All right. Windfall of abundance. An increase in abundance is arriving in many different forms, some of them unexpected. Be open to receiving and know that this abundance comes to support your life purpose. Look at that. Health and charitable work. We already have soul purpose out here. Also, it's important to remember that I try to say it often. I don't know what's happening here. Abundance does not just come in material form. Like when we're speaking of abundance, it's not just about money and cars and big houses and fancy vacations. Abundance can be in the love that we're receiving. Abundance can be in just everyday blessings from the universe that a lot of times, especially people that are new to this whole awakening process, we don't even see it. There's so many blessings that just get overlooked. We'll put it that way. They get overlooked because people, when they think of abundance, when they think of blessings, they automatically think of like material wealth or financial wealth. And obviously, even though that looks like what a lot of this energy is, that's not necessarily always the case. And in this card, in the windfall of abundance, and in the face your financial fears, there's a lot of nature energy in both of those cards. Children in this card, nature and wildlife in this card, and we got the nature card. So, it is that time of year. If you're able, I need to take this advice myself because I really haven't been doing it, but spend more time outside. Even if you're not going on a full nature hike, try to spend a little bit more time outside. Let your body absorb the sunshine. All right, face your financial fears. When you are honest with yourself about fears of success or failure, they can no longer control you. Be free of hidden fears by exposing them to the light of awareness, and you'll realize that you, in fact, have nothing to fear, and that every successful person has struggled with and released these self-doubts. So going back to what we already talked about, just because it doesn't come in the way that you imagined it, or just because it's not happening in the time that you want it to, or in the way that you want it to, doesn't mean it's not happening. Be patient. Don't give up. Don't worry. If you haven't found your soul purpose, take the time, treat your mind, go into nature, quiet your surroundings and take the time to find out what that is. Love yourself enough to be the leader of your own life. You choose the direction you're going to go. Don't let other people, places, and situations determine where you're going to go. Very much so. It always surprises me and baffles me, like the confirmations that I get and just the synchronicities that I see everywhere. But I'm at this point, I don't know why. It still amazes me, but I'm thankful for it nonetheless. I'm turning my fan back on. And I don't know why, but here lately, which is why I like this energy that's out here it's a very, I don't want to say awkward, but just, it's a different kind of energy. But I've been having a lot of 50 Shades of Grey stuff popping up on my, like in my little clip videos. And there's a couple other, like there's this Daniel something is his name, but just a lot of very poetic energy around me lately. So I'm grateful for it, and I enjoy it. So thank you. All right, clearing debts. Your self-care involves removing the heavy burden of financial and emotional debts from your life. You already feel lighter and freer just by facing this topic and making a plan to clear present obligations and avoid future ones as well. So clearing out old energy, whether that's financial energy or people, places, environments, situations, thought patterns, whatever that is, clearing out old stagnant energy, paying off old debts. That could be spiritual debts, not necessarily just financial debts. Wiping the slate clean. That's the kind of energy I'm getting off of that. Starting with a clean slate. Like, if you're going into a new relationship, you don't want to go into a new relationship with a bunch of old debt, so paying off all your old debts so that you don't take those old debts into this new chapter, wherever it's leading. I mean, that's obviously out here. Wait, really? Going back to the telepathy, really listening to your intuition with who you're connecting with. That came up very strong in the last one. Just being aware of who you're sharing your energy with, who you're allowing into your energy. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but just being aware. Also, going back to what we already talked about with the nature, going into nature and quieting your mind. I try to encourage people to do it all the time. If you don't already know what your pure, unaffected energy feels like, that's where spending the time in the nature is going to become really important. Knowing how you feel when nobody else's energy is bleeding into yours. Because if you don't know that, then you're not going to be able to tell when your energy is being affected by somebody else. All right, I'm going to take a break real quick and refill my cup before I pull something else. Maybe I'll actually finish it off tonight. I don't necessarily need to have liquor in my house. Okay. Exactly. And sometimes that's where people struggle, is the letting go part. Even when people know that something, whether it's a person, a situation, a way of thinking, even though they know that it doesn't serve their highest good, it's the letting go part that is hard. Yeah. It's letting that light in not only allows us to love ourselves, but it allows us to share that love with other people. All right. Now we'll pull from the crystals deck, explore the universe of gems and minerals. Last time we got halite and jasper. Stability, wholeness, perseverance. We got perseverance out here today too, and then perspective, compassion, and patience. Being patient with divine timing. That's where a lot of us struggle, is with patience. Even when we know and we're in touch with the spirit realm, and we know that all that is at play. It's just being patient, because once we figure out where we want to go and what we want to do and who we want to be and how we want our life to be, once we finally figure it out, it's like we want it right then. But it's hard to be patient, to allow the universe to cycle out what no longer needs to be there. Out with the old, in with the new. We got time. Rose quartz, joy, love, and connection. Carnelian, renewal, endurance, and power. That very much looks similar to the jasper. And then aquamarine, safe travels, exploration, and renewal. I always get like mermaid energy off of that stone. I love the color of that stone. All right, so travel energy, exploration, renewal. Out with the old, in with the new. The spirit realm is doing a new thing. And sometimes we have to let go of that grip and allow that to happen. We talked about it a lot in the last video about, being patient during that time of transition. A lot of times our lives can feel very empty and we can feel very stuck when that's what's happening, because it's like we're not doing anything new. We have to wait for all the old stuff to fade away, and patience is very important. You got peace, you got moonstone on the bottom of the deck. Peace, travel, and balance. That's a double confirmation on the travel. So be safe if you're traveling. When you're out there traveling, be careful who you interact with. Truck stops, rest areas, all that type of stuff. Just be cautious. Be aware, be prepared. Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Whether that's pepper spray, whatever, a taser, as far as with the travel terms, just be aware. All right, now I guess we'll go ahead and get the animal spirit. Last time we got lizard, bear, and cosmic egg. And then we'll pull from the Archangel Fire deck. I'm gonna have to move these over here. Rose quartz is very much, and that is the first one that we got with the crystals. Rose quartz is very much love energy, whether that's self-love, love for your fellow man, love in some kind of connection. Loving yourself enough to let go of those people, places, things, ways of thinking that no longer serve you. And that can be one of the hardest things to do, but it is probably the ultimate expression of self-love if you can do that. Not only acknowledging that those things need to be let go of, but the actual letting go. Of course, it went on the floor. Oh, there's two. Frog. Look at that. Hummingbird. Double confirmation on the hummingbird. Wow. Double confirmation on the hummingbird. Beautiful. And then frog. We got tarantula on the bottom of the deck. Panther on the top of the deck. We won't read those. We'll just stick with the two that came out, the frog and the hummingbird. All right, hummingbird is air energy. Positive, enthusiastic, spiritually resourceful. Inside the tiny hummingbird, here, let me turn this down a little bit now that we're back to reading. Inside the tiny hummingbird resides an endless well of energy and positivity. The hummingbird's secret is that it has learned where to gather nectar, and it returns to these sources daily for nourishment and rejuvenation. This sacred elixir springs from many sources, but usually involves nature, creativity, and exploring spirituality. Follow the way of the hummingbird, and you cannot go wrong. Every droplet of life becomes sweet, every moment worth savoring. When in balance, smart, curious, and loves to learn. When out of balance, pushy, insistent, and sharp. To bring into balance, take a class. So very much aligning with what we've already seen out here. The embracing nature, embracing your creativity, exploring your spiritual side, exploring that relationship with your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, your higher self, and of course the Most High. Going back to the Namaste card, giving your mind a treat, embracing your imagination, encouraging that creative thinking, that thinking outside the box. All right, and then we got frog, which I believe is water energy. Clearing, cleansing, and healing. The frog and the water element are almost inseparable. The frog spends its first months of life entirely within this healing element, and then emerges to rest on land. But no matter how earthly the frog becomes, its need for cleansing and rejuvenation is regular. Frogs tend to become overworked and undernourished. So it's vital that such sensitive creatures practice self-care. This card serves as a reminder that water helps us cleanse, forgive, and release. Time to dive in. Frogs aren't meant to carry a heavy load. When in balance, clearing energy and enthusiasm for life. When out of balance, depleted, running on empty. To bring into balance, lake, river, ocean, or bathhouse. I know we've gotten this recently because I talked about like going swimming, or if you don't have a natural source of water that you can go swimming in, collecting rainwater or playing in the rain, dancing in the rain. Natural water has many, many, many benefits, one of them being its cleansing powers. But I think it's also interesting that it talked about releasing. When we were just 1:44:22 on the timer when I looked. Releasing people, places, things, thought patterns that no longer serve us. Going back to the third eye chakra affirmation, the inner knowing. Listening to your inner voice and embracing those things that need to be released. Loving yourself, and it does talk about self-care. Being overworked and undernourished. Practicing self-care, going back to our self-love affirmation, loving yourself enough to let go of those people, places, things, situations, environments, thought patterns that no longer serve your highest good. Embracing that change, not letting that change keep you stuck, not allowing that to discourage you from the path that you're on. Understanding and embracing the fact that not everybody is meant to be there forever. You know, people come into our lives for a season, for a reason, either to teach us something or for us to teach them something. Don't hold on so tightly to something that's to the point that you drowned. You know, when something is weighing you down, kind of embracing that water energy, don't let it weigh you down so much that you drowned. Let go. I know how hard that is, especially when your heart is involved. It hurts so bad. And especially if it's something that's been a part of your journey for a long time, it's almost like we have to relearn how to function without it being there anymore, whether it's a way of thinking, as an environment, an individual, whatever it is, especially if it's something that's been a part of your journey for a long time. The longer it's been a part of your journey, the harder it's going to be to let it go. But don't worry. Your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, your higher self, the Most High, they're with you. They're guiding you. They're showing you those changes that need to be made, and they're very much encouraging you to make them. The caged bird coming from the Wandering Heart Oracle, it's not really what that card talked about, but when I first saw that card, and even still now, if you literally look at it like with a caged bird energy mentality, don't keep yourself in a cage. You know, even though you may be unsure or uncomfortable, or it may feel awkward, the changes that are happening, don't keep yourself in a cage. Don't hide your gifts from the world. Don't hide your, going back to what we saw with our chakra oracles, you know, embrace your gifts. Don't hide your gifts from the world. Stick to it. If your soul is on a journey, stay on that journey. Don't give up. All right, now we'll get an oracle from the Archangel Fire Oracle. Last time we got Raphael, number 17. Embracing this time in your journey where, you know, you got alchemy and fertility. So now is the time to create. Now is the time to embrace your imagination, to embrace your creative side, to embrace your ambition. No matter what direction you're aiming it, now is the time to do that inner work, to love yourself enough, to open your heart, to open your life to the new things that are coming in. Don't let the past hold you back. Don't let other people and their opinions hold you back. What are the things when you are with and looking at other people, what are the things that you admire about those people that maybe you might want to embrace and build within yourself? Kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, you know, the things that we see in other people that we may be jealous of, those may be the reason that we're jealous of them is because they're things that we desire in our own lives. All right. Archangel Fire Oracle. And going back to clearing debts that we saw earlier with the Angels of Abundance, that very much could involve spiritual debts as well. Spiritual cords and connections that may need to be cut off. All right, we actually got 2, so I'm going to put them back in, but we'll acknowledge them. We got number 1, Sariel, and then number 6, Gagiel. We actually saw her last time as well. I'm going to keep her because she showed herself in the video in the pool the other day as well. Raphael sitting there pretty on the bottom of the deck. Oh, excuse me. We'll look at him and see what he is. Sariel. He's number 1. That's the first card of the deck. Dark Night of the Soul. That's the energy out here. And it's an energy shift. A dark night of the soul. We go through many of them. An awakening. We'll read his basic message. I won't read the whole thing, but although you may feel like you have abandoned hope, abandon yourself not. You are being cracked open to reveal your depths. Treasures await you on the other side of this deep initiation. So there we go. Don't give up. You're on the right path. Keep going. Even though you may not see what's happening in the background, know that things are working out for your highest good. Don't give up. A dark night of the soul, an awakening, however you want to look at it. Going through a change, going through a death and rebirth. All right. And then she's number 16. Power. Embracing your own personal power. I'm going to wait a minute to read this card because there's nobody in here. I'm going to take a pause. We've been on here for a minute or an hour and 53 minutes, and it was 11 seconds when I first looked at it. I'm going to pause real quick, and then I'll come back and read the Archangel. Dark Night of the Soul, awakening, spiritual awakening. That's where we're at on this journey. I'm still here. I didn't disappear. I'm still here. All right. Her main message is power. Your power comes from God and is the essence of love. Do not be afraid to use your power for good. Claim back your sovereignty and give yourself permission to follow your inner guidance. Take control of the steering wheel of your life. Choose your direction. That's everything that we've talked about here so far. We got the direction card. We got inner knowledge. Same thing as inner guidance. Going back to what we were talking about before, where, you know, loving your self-love, loving yourself enough to not only acknowledge your gifts, but embracing those gifts. Whether they're spiritual gifts, physical gifts, whatever they are. It says, what an angel to call on at the start of this incredible new era of change. Look at that. It's, even though this is 16 and the other card was 1, it's lining up right with it. Like the fierce Norse Viking warrior is in her card. Hi there. Powerful Gagiel's duty is to help you raise your own personal vibration. And this is particularly useful as we collectively raise the frequency of the planet. What does this mean? All energy is constantly moving. Even that which appears solid and stationary would vibrate when viewed at the microscopic level. When something is very fast moving, it is harder to see with the naked eye. Hummingbird. Hummingbirds move so fast you can barely see them, right? Light is an example of this, as are angels, on an exponential scale. Our lighter emotions vibrate at a higher, faster rate than our so-called lower emotions, which is why they can feel heavy and have a tendency to get stuck in our body. She works to release the energy blockages that are preventing us from experiencing our highest possible timeline by raising our emotional frequency and bringing us back into alignment with Creator, our higher source of light and love. She has the power to harness and control powerful energy vortexes, which she directs into our energy field and chakra system to clear negativity and transform anything that is stuck. She is known as the head of the order, otherwise known as the chariots of the Merkaba, the light body. She governs the wheel of the sun, energy, and vibration. Her color is a beautiful glittering yellow gold like dazzling sunlight. As she is a solar angel, she helps you absorb the healing benefits of the sun and offsets sun damage to skin or property. She also brings balance to weather patterns. What? 16 is from 7. Yes. Yeah, if you break it down, it breaks down to a 7. Correct. And we already talked about, when we were talking about the nature card, going outside and allowing yourself to soak up some sunshine. You know, a lot of us, for whatever reason, whether it's because of the area that you live in or, you know, because you have such a busy schedule or whatever the case may be. But even if you can just, you know, 15, 30 minutes, go outside in the sun and, you know, allow sun. It also gives our body vitamin D naturally. So there's a lot of different health benefits to getting out and soaking up the sun. And she's very much encouraging that here. So just a confirmation on that one. Let's see if there's anything else on the other page. You can harness her energy. You can harness her power when you place your hands on the steering wheel of life and have the confidence to move through challenges with grace and ease. If you are feeling disempowered by a person or situation, you have the choice to remain within that dynamic or choose a different direction to keep your life moving forward at the right pace for you. I mean, that goes back to everything that I've already said in this pool. You know, not letting other people's opinions, ways of life, expectations affect how not only how you look at yourself, but how you look at your journey, your soul purpose. Going back to our angel numbers, 66, 7. Angel, there you go. This breaks, her number 16 breaks down to a 7. We got 7 in our angel number, life purpose or soul purpose. So don't let other people pull you away from what you feel like your life purpose is. Don't worry about what they think. Don't worry about how people are going to judge you. I mean, the only example I know how to give for that is like people in Hollywood. You know, if they gain too much weight, people talk shit about them because they're too fat. If they lose too much weight, people talk shit about them and say that they're too skinny. Don't make decisions based on making other people happy. Do what makes you happy. Embrace your journey. Choose your direction. You know, a lot of us may be at that place where we're at a crossroads where, you know, there's a split in the road and you have to pick which way you're going to go. Make that decision based on what's best for you, not the expectations and opinions of others. All right, I think the only one oh no, here we go. We'll pull from the Herbology deck, and then we'll pull from the Mary Magdalene, and we'll be done. Last time from the Herbology deck, we got Nettle, number 21. Action. The nettle I'm most familiar with is stinging nettle, but there's deadhead nettle. There's all kinds of different nettles out there. The frog energy is very much lining up with that. You don't have to carry a heavy load. Don't carry somebody else's load. Embracing the journey. And then very much, you know, releasing people, places, and things that no longer serve you. All right. This is the Herbal Astrology Pocket Oracle. I really enjoy this deck. Poppy, number 41, Dream. It hasn't been that long since we've got that one. I'm glad that it can encourage you. We all need a little bit of extra encouragement sometimes. It hasn't been that long since we got this. 41, breaking down to a 5. Psilocybin, number 49, Commune, on the bottom of the deck. Followed by Blue Lotus, Intuition. Hibiscus on the top of the deck. We've been seeing hibiscus energy a lot lately. If you've never experimented with hibiscus tea, I would like to encourage that. You can get it in pre-made tea bags, but you can also get it in raw form and just steep it yourself. It's one of my favorites. Hibiscus has a lot of health benefits. Dream, commune, and joy. Commune, I'm very much seeing that like with the sacred union. I'm not going to read that one. These have very long messages, so I'm not going to read all of them, but The communion or the commune with the sacred union, that similar energy. And then the hibiscus, which is 14, that was on the top of the deck. So those are opposite numbers, 14 and 41, both breaking down to a 5. The psilocybin is 49. The poppy energy, the dream, very much lining up with the Namaste card. Give your mind a treat. Allow yourself to dream. Don't be so close-minded that you don't allow your imagination, that you don't play with your imagination from time to time. I'm guilty of that. I'm a very logical, practical person. It's not very often that I fantasize, or what's the other word that they use to describe it? I don't indulge in fantasies. But I'm very, from all of this that's out here, very much encouraging that to take place. All right, let's see what the message from that is. Poppy, number 41, dream. Poppies are also, which I know it's going to say this in the card because it hasn't been that long since we got this card, but poppies are also where opium comes from. Vitamin C, yeah. With the hibiscus, yes, most definitely. But, I mean, vitamin C benefits our body and our mind and our spirit in so many ways. All right, Poppy, dream. Mystery of dream time. The great unknown. Breaking addictive habits. Releasing unhealthy relationships and aligning with new intentions. What have we been talking about? Releasing people, places, things, mindsets, environments that no longer serve us, that no longer serve our highest good. Aligning to new intentions. Astrological ruler, Neptune and Saturn. The earliest references to poppies are found in the ancient land of Sumer, located in what is now Iraq and Kuwait. Sumerians grew poppies all the way back in 3400 BCE and cultivated the plant for both its medicinal and recreational use as opium, calling it the joy plant. You know, overseas, they used to call it chasing the dragon when you would get high on opium. If you've never seen the movie, it's weird that that's coming up because I haven't talked about that movie in a long time. It's got Johnny Depp in it. It's called From Hell. It's a story about Jack the Ripper. That's a very good movie. If you've never seen it, I get it could apply to the energy that we're picking up on here today, but it's a good movie nonetheless if you haven't seen it. Okay. The euphoria-inducing plant quickly became a staple of cross-continent trading. It first gained influence in Assyria and ancient Egypt. Eventually, it was one of the most important and profitable products being transported on the infamous Silk Road across much of Asia. Civilizations rose and fell, but poppy remained in many traditions. By the early 1800s, this unassuming flower led to mass addiction and the Opium Wars. In 1806, morphine was isolated from the poppy and named for the Greek god of sleep, Morpheus. And in case you don't know, morphine is a very strong painkiller that a lot of people get addicted to. It was hailed as a godsend with its extraordinary ability to numb any pain, no matter how severe. Next came codeine, another powerful pain reliever. Pharmaceutical company. And in case I said this the last time we read this card, in case you don't know, that's why America invaded those lands long, long ago. Was because of their incredible poppy fields and all the different products that we use that in. Which I don't really understand. Like, I don't know. I'm not a very politically minded person, but I don't really understand that. Like, we could grow them here just like they do over there. Just like we could grow our tobacco here. There's so many things that America used to be a country of producers, and now we're almost completely a country of consumers. And that makes us vulnerable in so many different ways. But just speaking of the poppies in general, we have fields and plenty of fields that we could be growing poppies in instead. But anyways, it's all intricate, and I don't really care about politics because they've destroyed our world. So anyways, all right. Let me start back. I've lost my place. Pharmaceutical companies began to manufacture heroin from poppies. It was indeed a popular medicine for a long time before its addictive properties were brought to light. Now it's listed as one of the most harmful drugs in the world, even though to this day its raw material is used to manufacture dozens of pharmaceutical drugs. I mean, I've said it for years, but anything that you get from in a pill form, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's blood pressure medicine, pain medicine, cancer medicine. Every kind of medicine that we consume is either derived from nature or it is a synthetic form of something that can be found in nature. Just saying. All right. Guidance. Poppy's piercing dual nature and history are closely representative to that of the devil card in the tarot. The devil represents the darkness of material obsession, addiction, and pursuit of false idols for the sake of vanity and personal gain. The constructs of this reality have enabled a contorted darkness that does not belong to the soul signature of this divine flower. Look deeper through the lens of her beauty to find that she embodies the mystical magic of the dream time, the place of unbound potential where we regenerate daily and commune with the divine. That's what we do when we sleep. Our bodies regenerate and our soul communicates with our angels, ancestors, spirit guides, our higher self, and the Most High. Be aware that excess and abuse of mystical powers or substances means that you'll likely end up lost in her dark labyrinth. Wow. Break the temptation and addiction to thought patterns and experiences that lead to escapism and empty intentions, and align to the light found within the mystical darkness found in the dream time. What have we been talking about? Yes, it does. Yes. Letting go of thought patterns, people, places, things, and more importantly, addictions that hold us back. A lot of times we can be addicted to something that's not necessarily bad, but there is such a thing as getting too much of a good thing. You can consume anything in excess. Like dark chocolate. Pure natural dark chocolate has so many good health benefits. But if you sit there and, eat chocolate with every meal and at snack time, eventually you're going to get too much of a good thing. The example that I gave last time was vitamin K. Vitamin K comes from we can get that from a lot of different sources, but vitamin K is a natural, it helps our blood coagulate. It helps our blood thicken. But if you consume too much vitamin K, it can cause blood clots, and blood clots can be deadly. So it came up in the last video, and I'm just going to reiterate it now. It's all about balance. Balancing the light and the dark, balancing the healthy and the unhealthy, balancing the good and the bad, the good and the evil. I mean, obviously, excuse me, I had a burp. Confirmation. Obviously, opium, when consumed in ridiculous high amounts, is not going to be good for you. But what do they call it? Came up because we just recently got that card. Microdosing is what they call it now. In small doses, it can help you sleep. It can help you relax. Some people even use it to transcend to the spirit realm, meditation type stuff. So embracing that side of yourself to a point, but also being aware and being in control. Because a lot of people can't do stuff like that without getting addicted. But I have mixed opinions when it comes to chemicals like that. But especially when it's chemicals that are provided by nature. In my mind, if it's something that naturally occurs, going back to what I said, where, every prescription pill that you take, the chemicals that are in that are either derived from nature or they are synthetic forms of something that is found in nature. And, I won't go too deep into it, but it even tells us in biblical texts that those plants were provided to us for a reason. And maybe part of that reason might be to help us connect with our spiritual side, to help us connect to that other realm. Because there's a lot of things that are in nature that have that same similar effect. Cocaine comes from a plant. Chocolate comes from a plant. I mean, knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more aware you can become, and the more enlightened you can become to how much we really have been deceived by, as long as we have existed, everything, there's two sides to it. There's always a little bit of truth and a little bit of lie in all of it. All right. Now we're going to pull from the Mary Magdalene Oracle. Last time we had testimony. Love is stronger than death. Yes, I'm doing well. I broke a toe today. But it's good to see you. Thanks for being here. Yes, they do call it dark and light for a reason. Yes. We all have dark and light within us. It's just a matter of which side we're going to embrace. In the stories of the Native Americans, it's the story of the white wolf and the dark wolf. Whichever one you feed the most, it's going to be the strongest. So it's about balance. Thank you. Yeah, I was moving furniture today. This big couch that's behind me right here, I'm working on getting it out of the apartment. And I really hoped to do that today, but my neighbor that's going to help me move it didn't come home today. And so, anyways, nonetheless, that's how I broke my toe. It's the toe that's right next to my pinky toe. And at first I didn't think that I broke it. I thought that I might have just jammed it. But yeah, it's broken. It's blue and purple. It's pretty bad. But unfortunately, I've always been hard on my feet. But I'm a tough nut. I'll recover. All right. Whoa. Okay. Christ, love knows only mercy. The cross, I am anchored in love on the bottom of the deck. The skull, love has already won on the top of the deck. All right, so love knows only mercy. Page 32. Going back to the self-love. Not only showing that love to yourself, but being able to share that love with the people around you. Knowing that mercy is an act of love. You know, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on the people around you. 20, 20, 33 on the timer when I looked. All right. It's crucial for us to remember that Christ was crucified by the Roman Empire. He wanted to turn the unjust power structures of the empire on their head, making the first last and the last first. What were we just talking about? The government and the structures of this world. We were just talking about that. Christ wanted us free from the misunderstanding that any one of us had the right to put ourselves above or below another. Christ wanted to free us from the illusion that external forms of power like wealth and authority could ever come close to the ultimate power of love that exists within us. It's crucial for us to remember that Christ wasn't Christian. Christianity came hundreds of years after Christ. Christ himself embodied a spiritual practice. Confirmation. Wow. It's 11:47 in my area. I definitely should not be getting phone calls. Christianity came hundreds of years after Christ. Christ himself embodied a spiritual practice called kenosis, which is Greek for self-emptying love. When we practice loving someone, even a stranger, a perceived enemy, by emptying out all our egoic ideas of them, we free ourselves and them. We put mercy into practice. Mercy is what love looks like in action. In Mary's gospel, Peter asks Christ, quote, "What is the sin of the world?" And Christ replies, "There is no such thing as sin," referencing Mary chapter 3, verse 3. Christ is saying that we are not innately sinful. Sin does not exist as an ultimate truth. Sin, according to the Gospel of Mary, is when we mistake the ego for our true self, when we are unable to sense the presence of the soul in the midst of one of the powers of the ego. We then act from that forgetful state. So going back to what we talked about earlier about our soul purpose, knowing that we are spiritual beings here having a human experience, that there's more to it than just the box that they want to put us in, whatever box that is. I crushed the skin of my toe while skating, but it's growing back okay. Well, good. I'm glad that it's growing back okay. Man, I'm so hard on my feet, and a lot of that is just because I go barefoot so often. I don't wear shoes. So my feet have been through a lot over the years. But remembering that, going back to what this said, you know, when Jesus was actually here, Christianity did not exist. Man-made religion is just as much of a box as the government is. It's all, there's a little bit of truth in all of it, but man-made religion is something that has held us back for generations, and it continues to do so. All right. Christ and Mary's gospel wants us to remember that being human means being an ego with all the humanity that demands, and that being human also means being a soul. Mary's gospel relates that Christ was the true human being, and that is what he revealed to her we are meant to become also. The true human being has united the ego to the true self, the soul. Even in the midst of the worst of what can unfold in our lives, we have the capacity to return to the limitless love we are also. How can we do this? We have mercy on ourselves. We have mercy on each other. We let love reach where it has never been before. The soul voice meditation. What mercy can I have for myself or someone else in this moment? So, kind of pulling it all together in a nutshell, having mercy on yourself, loving yourself enough to embrace where you are on this journey. Even if you veered off path, even if you've made bad decisions, even if you're not sure what your soul purpose is, don't worry. Stick to it. Have love and mercy for yourself and for your fellow man to know that divine timing is always at play. And as long as you love yourself, as long as you take the time to nurture yourself, you'll have the energy and the strength to persevere through whatever comes. Life path, divine guidance, success, alignment, mission fulfillment. Your angels are pleased with your life choices and are letting you know that you're on the right path. Keep up the good work as you are successfully fulfilling your soul purpose and life mission. Going back to our angel number 7, we got confirmation for that. A lot of love out here with all the different cards that we've pulled today or this evening. A lot of love energy, fertility and alchemy. That to me is a very clear sign that it was 2722 when I looked at the timer. We do have 2222 out here in our angel numbers as well. Stick to it. Persistence, patience, progress, steadfast, goal, manifestation, and preparation. Choose a path and stick to it, making slow and steady progress. This card signifies the need for patience and consistent effort while working toward a significant goal or manifestation. Ensure that all aspects of your plan are organized and aligned. Well, really for me, quote unquote, religion in itself is all man-made. That's why, there's like 150 different denominations when you look at the different churches. In reality, religion is, I don't even want to call it religion. True spirituality isn't meant to keep us in a box. And that's what any kind of religion keeps you in a box. Like, you can only work within these dimensions. You can only work within these 4 walls. If you think anything outside of that, it's blasphemy or, whatever the case may be, depending on whatever, real specific religion you're talking about. But true spirituality has nothing to do with religion. That's why you have people that say, I'm not a religious person, I'm a spiritual person. Spirituality allows room for growth. It allows room for new information. It allows for, hundreds and thousands of different ideas to come together without judgment. And that's, whether you're talking about Jesus, whether you're talking about Buddha, whether you're talking about any of the other major influences over the years. Who was the other one? Socrates, I think was his name, but I could be wrong. But there's a lot of key figures that came through over the years that tried to get people to break out of that box of organized religion. When in scripture, when Jesus talks about the Pharisees were of the organized religion. They literally rejected Jesus when he was sent there to open their minds, to open their eyes to all the things that they were missing. Because, which of course, the biblical text that we see today is, we're missing a lot of it. There's a lot of it that was left out, whether it's the Mary Magdalene or the book of Thomas or, the book of Paul. There's a lot. And now with the more research and the more learning that I'm doing, I've learned about the Geneva Bible, which I haven't really had an opportunity to look too much into that, but it what came before the King James Bible. But the Pharisees failed to see the spiritual aspect of Scripture. Yes, it had a literal physical meaning and story, but if you're at all familiar with biblical text, you know that there's a lot of parables, and it's meant to be looked at from multiple different perspectives, not just one. You can look at it from a spiritual perspective. You can look at it from a religious perspective. You can look at it from a literal perspective. And in a lot of places, you can also even look at it from an astrological perspective. In the Bible, the 3 wise men that they talk about, those wise men were astrologers. They had knowledge of the stars to be able to find baby Jesus. And which king was it? I'm not good at remembering all the names, but I think it was King Nebuchadnezzar or something like that called on the 3 wise men and was like, when you find baby Jesus, let me know. Because he wanted to kill him, because he knew the prophecy. That's why they had to leave from Egypt. That's just going to depend on how much biblical knowledge you have, but that's why Jesus and Mary and Joseph had to leave Egypt, because the king had gotten word that that's where they were. But the wise men that they speak of, just like people that say that, burning sage and frankincense and using herbs and stones and stuff is demonic. The wise men brought baby Jesus frankincense, myrrh, and gold. Gold is a stone or a mineral, and frankincense and myrrh are resin. It's a natural occurring substance. But because they had knowledge of those things, that's why they called them wise men. But they studied astrology. And there are a lot of references to astrology in biblical scripture. And that's in the scripture that they've actually allowed us to have, because it's hidden. If you've never watched a guy, he's here on YouTube. His name is William Donahue, but I think his YouTube page is actually Bill Donahue. But he really, really, really breaks it down. And he opened my mind to a lot of different things. Everything from like the 12. Number 12, numerology plays a huge role in scripture. Not only in scripture, but in astrology and in so many other areas of this dimension that we live in. Numerology plays a huge role. You got 12 disciples. You also have 12 astrology signs. So just as a small example, But knowledge is power, and I always want to encourage people to, you know, take that power into your own hands and don't necessarily believe everything that you grew up taught. I grew up in the church. My papa preacher, my great uncle was a preacher. I have an uncle that's a preacher now. Yes, they do. No, that's just where it takes learning. I'm telling you, if that's something that you are truly interested in learning about, look up Bill Donahue here on YouTube. He has a YouTube page. And now, of course, his videos are all older. Like they were literally like videoed like with a VHS recorder. Like you can tell that they're old videos, but they're still good quality. And he breaks it down way better than I could. And I mean, obviously, his knowledge is way more than mine. We're all on this journey, but I mean, I say it often, we're all here to help and encourage each other. And, to me, part of that is sharing knowledge and encouraging people to break out of this matrix, this box, whatever you want to call it, that they've tried to keep us stuck in. And it's not just our generations. It's been going on for thousands of years. We're just now, as a human race, we're finally getting to the point where we're waking up. Things have been bad long enough to where people are tired of things being bad. And that's why all the things that are happening around us in the world are happening. Truths are being exposed. People are being exposed. The agendas, the hidden agendas are being exposed. All the people that used to talk crap and say, oh, they're just conspiracy theorists. They're Looney Tunes, da 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 da. Now, all those people are finding out that that's not the case. All those people that they used to talk bad about actually knew what they were talking about. And you could, everything from our government to what's happening in Hollywood to what's happening in the music business, it doesn't matter where you look, you can see where structures are collapsing. The system is collapsing because the truth, little by little by little by little, is finally being exposed. And the more it gets exposed, the more people that will, wake up to what's really happening. And the more we can grow, not only as individuals, but as a race, as a human race. When it's all said and done, we're all spiritual beings here having a human experience. And the reason we're having this there is a reason for it. We all have a different soul purpose. Bill Donahue, yes. Donahue, I believe, is D-O-N. There's a U in there. But just use your microphone and say it instead of typing it. Because I don't really remember how to spell it. But Bill Donahue. Or William. But I'm pretty sure... Here, hold on. I'll just pull it up. William Donahue. Yeah, William Donahue. D-O-N-A-H-U-E. That's what it looks like when you pull him up. And I mean, it's a lot of it is going to depend on how open-minded you are. Like when I first started watching him, I'd watch part of a video and I'd be like, man, that's just too much, and then a couple weeks later, I'd come back and finish the video, and he works, he reads out of the King James Bible, but he makes a lot of different references to other stuff. Like he very much, like the astrology part of it, that's what drew me to his videos, was the astrology part of it, because I've always been drawn to astrology, but within organized religion, astrology is demonic. It's evil. It's witchcraft. And that's why I never say that I'm a religious person. I have religious knowledge, but I'm a spiritual person. I don't believe in organized religion. There's a lot of stuff that just because I grew up in that world, that's a lot of the reason why I pulled away from the church to begin with. But the three wise men that they speak of in the Bible, they were astrologers. That's why they called them wise men. Because back then they used the stars for a lot of different things. They actually created maps of the stars. That's how we have all the constellations and stuff that we have now. That wasn't something that was done with modern age. They did that back in the time of Jesus, before Jesus. So it's information that's been around for a long time that they've really tried their damnedest to keep us from. You're very welcome. It's because the closer we get to that information, the more willing people are to accept that it's not what they told us that it was. The more open-minded people can be, the more the system is going to collapse. It's already happening. Look at all these preachers, these big TV preachers, Billy Graham and Kenneth Copeland and T.D. Jakes. And that's just our current field. But, they've been doing it. They've been doing it for a long time. And unfortunately, a lot of, especially just like, hometown country preachers, they didn't know any better. They weren't doing it with a criminal mind. They faithfully, wholeheartedly believed and still do believe the things that they teach. And I'm not saying that it's all wrong, but a lot of the information that we've been given over the years has been manipulated and is not accurate. There's a little bit of truth and a little bit of lie in all of it, because they want us to stay confused. And if you really get into scripture, and Bill talks about it a lot, it constantly, especially in the King James Bible, the Geneva Bible is something that I'm really going to start looking more into, but it's constantly contradicting itself. Constantly. And, then you can go even deeper down that rabbit hole, especially when you get into the astrology of it and, learning the roles that everybody played back in those times. It's a very enlightening experience, but just be prepared. It can be very overwhelming. So just kind of pace yourself, don't take in too much too quick. It has literally, there's been people in this world that have literally gone crazy because they've tried to take in too much too fast. And, that's why, the spirit realm knows what we can handle and how much we can handle. And so it just gives it to us a little bit at a time. It can be a very depressing journey, but if you can overcome that and you kind of use that to push you forward, it can also be very empowering. Once you embrace that knowledge, once you quit trying to fight it and you really embrace it. It took me a long time. It took a long time. And even then, I went back and forth kind of like on a teeter-totter for a little while where I struggled. Just like with the tarot stuff. 2:44:22 when I looked at the timer, The tarot world is really what opened my eyes. That was just, astrology and all that. For me, that was just the beginning. And once once I came to grasp, once I was able to grasp the idea that it doesn't have to be just one thing, like there's more, and you don't have to pick just one thing. And for me, that's the hardest part about, excuse me, the organized religion, is you can't just have a broad belief system. Like they want you to pick, either you're Catholic or you're Church of God, or you're Baptist, or you're Protestant, or you're, Seventh Day Adventist, whatever. And to me, that's just ridiculous. I don't. Let me ask Google. I don't remember exactly how many denominations there are. How many religious dominations do we have? I was way off. 45,000 religious denominations globally, with Christianity alone boasting over 45,000 separate denominations. This number includes a wide range of groups, from those with millions of members to those with fewer than 100 members. What are the 12 types of Christianity? You have Catholicism, Protestant, Adventist, Baptist, Lutheran, Methodist, Mormon. Some of these I don't even know what they are. Pentecostalism, Plymouth Brethren, Quakerism, Reformed, Western Christianity. So there's in a nutshell, there's more than 45,000 religious denominations globally. Now, what's the point in that? I mean, in reality, if you boil it down, we all believe in a higher power. We may call it something different. We may think different things about it, but that's where all the complication comes in. And, if you really, this is something that I just recently learned. If you really educate yourself on the United Kingdom in general and the role that they played in creating America, what is a denomination? Different beliefs, like, like with Seventh Day Adventists believe that the Sabbath is on Saturday. Typical denominations like Church of God and Baptist and people like that, those denominations believe that the Sabbath is on Sunday. So a different denomination just means that they interpret the Bible, the biblical scripture differently. Like you've got Quakers and you've got Mormons and Jehovah Witness. Those are all different denominations. Like with some, now my knowledge on this is very limited, I will say. Like some denominations don't believe that Jesus was actually the Son of God. They just believe that he was like a prophet, like a messenger. But now this is just speaking from my own personal opinion. We are all children of God. Exactly. Everyone views things a little differently. But unfortunately, in the world of religion, if you view something differently than I do, you're not accepted. You know what I'm saying? Like, just hypothetically. It's there, not to say that they don't love you the same, but they will judge and look at you different. Like people that, like since I've relocated, the only church that I've gone to has been a Seventh-day Adventist church, because I'm the type of person that I'm praising the same creator no matter where I go. And I like learning, right? And so for me it's been a learning experience, but people that attend Seventh-day Adventists, they go to church on Saturday because they believe that the Sabbath is on Saturday, not on Sunday. And they are very critical of people who attend church on Sunday. Seventh-day Adventists are also usually like they don't eat meat. That's something that I've learned. They're against caffeine. Like to them, they look at caffeine as a drug, which, I mean, if we're just being honest, it is a drug. But I mean, in my personal opinion, caffeine is something that comes from nature. Coffee has caffeine. Tea has caffeine. And those are like cultural differences. Yeah. I mean, in some cases, yes. So anyways, that's the denominations. That's all it is different interpretations of the biblical scripture. Like, back in the times of Jesus, not the Pharisees. I can't remember what group it was, but like they only worked with the Old Testament, like the first 5 books of the Bible. They call it the Torah. Like if you ever hear anybody when they're talking about religion talking about the Torah, which is like a Bible, that's basically the first 5 books of the Bible. My memory isn't let's see. So that's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and I don't think that's right though. That may be how this is set up, but I don't think that's right. Hold on. I don't even know why I did that, and I just didn't ask Google to begin with. But they call it the Torah. If you have not seen it, I was able to learn a lot from the series, The Chosen. You can actually download the app and watch all of it. They are just now released season 5. I don't know if that's actually on the app yet, but you can watch the first 4 seasons for free. And it is not considered a religious series. They call it a historical drama. And it's a really good show. What books are included in the Torah?
The Torah includes 5 books.
Yeah.
Here are the first 3. Book of Genesis, Book of Exodus, and Book of Leviticus.
Yeah. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And let me see. What denomination uses the Torah? Judaism. So, I learned that from that series, The Chosen, through Judaism, the Torah, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, often referred to as the books of Moses. It is the central and most important text in Judaism. It is used in Jewish rituals, readings, and as a basis for Jewish law and tradition. Yes. It also says Islam. Muslims also acknowledge the Torah as a sacred text. And then, of course, Christianity. That's the beginning of the Christian Bible. But, and Catholicism, Catholics, they have a different Bible. They use a different Bible than Christianity. I've never actually like seen one or read one, but from what I understand, most people that follow the basic beliefs of Christianity, their biggest beef with Catholic, the most common with Catholics is that they changed the Ten Commandments. But I don't want to project too many of my beliefs out there, but if you really research the Catholic Church, there's nothing good about it. I'm not saying the people that follow that religion are bad, because just like with Christians or any other denomination, most people are innocent and oblivious. You know what I mean? But as far as the root of the Catholic Church is evil. They've done a lot of demonic things in this world and in our society. And they were very, very much involved with a lot of horrible things that happened not only in the UK and Europe, but in building America as well. And that is actually spoken about in traditional scripture. It talks about the dragon with the 7 heads, and that I'm not going to go too far into that, but nonetheless, that's where the being able to look at things from different perspectives, taking it for not only literally but spiritually, and the references that they make in the Bible, being able to interpret them in multiple different ways. Excuse me, confirmation. But that is a deep rabbit hole. Religion in itself is a deep rabbit hole, but that's something that when I started attending the church that I go to now, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, I started doing a Bible study with the lady that actually invited me to come to the church. And I've learned a lot about that through her. Seventh-day Adventists really pride themselves on historical knowledge. They really do. And even before I attended that church, the way I view the Sabbath is not the way a lot of people view it, is at least people that are involved with organized religion. To me, if God wanted, or the Most High, however you want to refer to him, if the Sabbath was intended to be on a specific day, we would have been told. But the world in a whole has changed so much. We used to have 13 months. Now we only have 12. But biblical scripture tells us that time is an illusion. That's something that was created by man, not by spirit. So to me, as long as we dedicate a day to acknowledging our angels, ancestors, spirit guides, the Most High, and showing gratitude for what they do in our lives, it doesn't matter what day it is. And in reality, we should be doing that every day, even if it's just in a little way. But the 10 Commandments do say, to keep the Sabbath day holy. But it doesn't say what day the Sabbath day is. But if you look at a calendar, Saturday is technically the last day of the week. If you look at a calendar, Sunday is the beginning of the week. So, it's all in perception. How do you view it? And I mean, if a murderer can be forgiven and still reach his final destination, I think we can be forgiven if we don't get it exactly right. You know what I mean? When it's all said and done, the way I look at it, it's all just about being a good person, acting out of love and kindness, going back to the mercy, our Mary Magdalene talking about love and mercy. That's what it's all about. Right. Yeah. Loving yourself, showing yourself mercy, and not only ourselves, but the people in our lives that we value and appreciate, and at the same time not keeping people in our lives that we don't value and appreciate, because I can speak from experience. There are evil, wicked people in this world, and those are the demons that we've been warned of. I am a firm believer that demonic possession is possible. I'm a firm believer that, there are dark entities that are here to test us, and, we have to be careful. That's why I say it so often about being careful about who and what you give your time and energy to, and just trying to stay on track and doing what, being a good person. To me, that's really what it's all about. I mean, because it's so easy to be a bad person, especially in the day and times that we live in now. And I mean, all you have to do is doom scroll for a little while on YouTube, and you can find evils that you didn't even know existed. I mean, it happens to me all the time. It's very disheartening to see how dark the things are. And I'm sure it's always been that way, but with social media and technology that we have today, it's more in our face, unlike before, you really had to get out there and seek it. Now you don't have to. It can literally just fall right into your lap. And especially with young people, or people that are still confused, or, people that may not be so firm in who they are and have the strength to say no, kind of going back to what we talked about with the cards, letting go of people, places, and things that no longer serve you. Not everybody is good at that. And especially if it's something that, has always been a part of your life, even if it's not good for you. We all have different battles that we have to overcome. We all have different struggles, no matter what it is, whether it's addiction or procrastination, or, health issues, or, loving people too hard. That was something that I struggled with for a long time. I lead with love. And so even when people hurt me, I can see through all of that and still see the good in them. And sometimes that can be very detrimental, to offer that forgiveness and allow whatever that is to stay in your life, even when you know that it's having a negative impact. Even if that negative impact isn't on a physical level, spiritual health is way more important than physical health. If your spiritual health is bad, it's going to affect your physical health for sure. Whether that's mentally, emotionally, or literally physically. We carry a lot of trauma and a lot of pain around in our bodies, and it manifests in a physical way. Whether that's depression, PTSD, kidney stones, whatever it is, it all manifests. They've scientifically proven it. Darling, stop. It can be difficult for people to accept that. And it can, especially if it's not knowledge that they already have. That's why it's so important for us that no matter what area you have knowledge in, it's important to share. Because just because you have that knowledge doesn't mean I have that knowledge, vice versa. It doesn't necessarily even have to be, spiritual or religious or anything like that. It could be, going back to what we were talking about earlier with the poppies and the hibiscus and stuff like that. Having me sharing my knowledge of herbal remedies that might help somebody with their health. It's the knowledge that we have is not intended to be hoarded. It's intended to be shared. And the more people know, the more impact that knowledge can have. Which is why technology is such a great thing, because it does give knowledge to the masses. But a lot of people don't take the time to learn it. A lot of people are so stuck in the box that they don't even look for it anymore. They just take whatever's fed to them. Like spoon feeding a baby. They don't question anything. They don't investigate anything. They depend on the government and pharmaceutical companies and, distribution companies for everything that they get. Some people are so ignorant to, and I don't mean that in a negative way, ignorance just in the lack of knowledge to the fact that how much the world really has changed just in the last 60, 70 years. There's people out there today that they can't even comprehend. Like there was a day and time where grocery stores didn't exist. Walmart, Food City, Kroger, Costco, none of that existed. If you didn't grow it or harvest it, you didn't have it. There was a day and time where toilet paper didn't exist. It's very disheartening, really, to see how many people lack that knowledge, but also how many people don't even have the desire to learn. If we could just go back and review history, people would see that we're making mistakes that were made back then is what led us to where we are now, and we're continuing as a society as a whole. We keep making the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. Maybe in different areas, but, in a nutshell, it's the same mistakes. And for the most part, those mistakes are trusting people that don't deserve our trust. Letting them spoon feed us and manipulate us and control us in every way possible. And we're to the point now, where there's really, it's a balancing act at this point. We're almost too far gone. But that also depends on how you look at the biblical scripture and, how you look at past events and current events. And, it's all about perspective, how you look at it. But, and sometimes that can make it confusing depending, you get too many opinions in one room and it's just going to be chaos. So we have to have that desire within ourselves to find that knowledge and, you know, to make a difference, not only in our own lives, but in the lives of the people that we encounter from day to day. Yeah. That's what I strive to do here and, you know, in just regular life. And I try to encourage other people to do the same. And the more spiritual knowledge we have, the more we can learn to listen to ourselves. Oh wow, I didn't even see. Oh, I didn't see where he was telling me about how old he was. My bad. I was just scrolling through all the old messages. That one guy that was here earlier went through and deleted a bunch of the messages that he left. And first of all, I didn't know you could do that. And second of all, I don't understand why he did that. That David guy. Anyways. Squirrel distraction. I'm just curious as to why he did that. But nonetheless, I very much enjoyed chatting with you. I'm trying to make it more of a habit of coming on. I definitely usually don't come on at nighttime. Oh, yeah, I didn't even know you could do that. But, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I just think it's kind of weird. Like, why? I mean, he wasn't sharing like personal information or anything, but I don't know that what he was typing, that may have been like poetry or something that he has written. And maybe he didn't want other people like, you know, taking his work or whatever. That may have been what it was. But nonetheless, I don't normally come on this late of an evening. I normally come on of a mornings, but I've really been kind of bouncing back and forth trying to find where, you know, get in where I fit in kind of thing. And so I've enjoyed being here with you. I've enjoyed the conversation, but it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning where I'm at. So I'm going to get off here and call it a night. Thank you for being here with me this evening. I hope to see you again. And I'm going to end it as I always do. Be grateful for what you have, the big, the small, and the blessings yet to come. If you see a need out there today, tomorrow, next week, if there's any possible way that you can fill that need, please do so. You may not only better their day, but you could possibly change their life, and you never know the impact it could have on yours. Be blessed, find peace, and I'll see you next time.